Welcome back to the Mental Giants, man. Today we're gonna talk about Juneteenth. See, every year around June, social media they want to have these debates. Some people celebrate it, some people criticize it, and then you got people that claim it's a made-up holiday. But see, here's the question: how can a holiday be made up when it's based on actual historical events? See, today we're gonna break down what Juneteenth is, why it matters, and why understanding history shouldn't be so controversial. Um, First and foremost, what is Juneteenth? Juneteenth commemorates June the 19th of 1865. On that day, Union General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, and announced that enslaved black people were now free. Here's what's important. President Abraham Lincoln had already issued the Emancipation Proclamation January the 1st, 1863. So why were people still enslaved in Texas more than 2 years later? I'll tell you why. It's because Texas was one of the most remote Confederate states, and many slaveholders simply ignored the order until the troops pulled up and enforced it. See, Juneteenth, it marks freedom that was finally announced and enforced for many for many enslaved people in Texas. It's a historical event. It's not a myth. It's not a social media trend, and it's not something that was just recently invented. Um, why do people think it's made up? A lot of Americans simply did not learn about Juneteenth in school. For decades, many school systems gave very little attention to black history outside of slavery, Martin Luther King, a little bit of Malcolm X, and civil rights movement. Let's be real. And as the result of that, you got millions of people in this world who've never heard the word Juneteenth. So people assume it's new. But truth be told, Juneteenth celebrations began in 1866. Black communities have been celebrating Juneteenth for generations. The holiday is actually older than a lot of the holidays that Americans celebrate today. Yeah. Um, some people ask, why celebrate Juneteenth when we already had the 4th of July? That's a fair question. Give you that. The 4th of July celebrates America's independence from the Great Britain. Juneteenth celebrates freedom reaching people who were still enslaved after that independence had already been declared. Think about that. See, America declared that all men were created equal in 1776, yet millions were still enslaved for damn near a whole nother century. See, Juneteenth don't and can't even compete with 4th of July. See, it helps us understand freedom, that expanding over time. It helps us understand a lot. History is so important, and we grow stronger when we all know the truth. When we all know, Juneteenth, it ain't anti-American. It's not anti-white. It's not about making anybody feel guilty about something that they did not do. It's about remembering a historical event. Americans celebrate many moments from history. Veterans Day, they honor military service. Memorial Day, that honor those who died while serving. Labor Day recognizes the workers. And Juneteenth, it recognizes the end of slavery for Black Americans. Learning history, it ain't about assigning blame. It's about understanding how we got here. Um, Whether you celebrate Juneteenth or not, history remains history. The facts don't change just because they uncomfortable. The purpose of learning history is not to divide people, it's to educate people. A nation that understands its history is better equipped to build its future. Juneteenth, it ain't a made-up holiday. It's a reminder that freedom delayed is still worth celebrating when it does finally arrive. We see We see these isms, we see the racisms, we see the prejudice, we see all of this. Still, it's still very relevant. Um, all you gotta do is get on Facebook. Anything in regards to black people, is pretty much full fledged racist. Um, and I mean, it's people that's right among us. It's your everyday average working person. You know, and it's sick, it's sad, but through everything that my ancestors and all of the black Americans, our ancestors endured, we still here, we still remain strong, and that's all that really matters, and we going strong. So, with that being said, let's quit trying to dim light on Juneteenth like it ain't what it is. Um, that's first and foremost. My second, first and foremost, is people learn y'all history, man. Learn some history, man. Learn some history, man. Because there's this notion, that black people lazy and that, we all this negativity. But really, when you take a deep dive into history and when you start looking at the facts and accepting things as they were, then you can understand why, once again, we have so many laws that are established now based on and revolving around things like Jim Crow. Um, times like that was used to establish strict policing and brutality. Way before we get a Trayvon Martin, way before we get a George Floyd. You know, this ain't nothing that's new. It's been going on. But it'll help you get a further understanding of how we can take a specific group of people and oppress them and depress them and oppress them and depress them, and then it just keeps revolving and keeps revolving and to only one group of people's benefit, by the way. See, the only difference between those times and these times is that now things are affecting all of us. It don't matter if you black, white, Mexican, Asian, Haitian. It don't matter what your ethnicity is. It's affecting everybody who ain't at a certain level in life. And that's just the truth. That is what it is. That's the facts of that. But for the ones in the Elida School District and many other places, who still carry this hatred in your heart, we still here. We still thriving. Look at my skin, glowing. Like, what is you talking about? We still here. We still motherfucking shining. Ignorance is bliss. There's some people who are just ignorant. Let them people be ignorant. Or, whoop their ass. But because we don't condone violence here at the Mental Giants, unless necessary. Nah, they come crazy. Educate them. That's what you do. You educate them. Educate them. Educate them. That's about the best thing you can do. Outside of that, ain't nobody trying to. Don't nobody care about none of that. Don't nobody care about none of that. Just don't come over here with all. But don't nobody care about none of that, Playboy. Let's talk about it. Like, come on, man. We got a lot of beautiful inventors. And I'm gonna do an episode on that too. We just gonna talk about black inventors. I'm just gonna tell y'all about. We're gonna talk about the goats, like the real true goats, man. We gonna start educating people on Black history more too, because it's important. Black history is American history, and it's the truth. When we talk about the Civil War, and it's so much like, man, it's a lot. It's a lot to be talked about. It's a lot to touch on, and we gonna do it. We just ain't gonna do it today. But with that being said, thanks for tuning in, man. It's your boy Jay Ford, man. Make sure y'all follow, subscribe, like, comment, man. Start tapping in with me. I'm gonna make sure I start tapping in with y'all more as well. I had to come bring this to y'all attention though, because somebody gotta learn something. Somebody got to know something about something. You feel me? This ain't that. The same way people go hard and, oh, happy Independence Day. Oh, happy Independence. But keep that same energy when it come down to Juneteenth. If you don't know about Juneteenth, maybe you should do your history about Juneteenth. Other than that, power to the motherfucking people. Peace out.